do. It all makes it more real. Hello and welcome back to another episode of CCTV. Here we are.
This is it, dude.
This is it for the season.
This is it.
This is our season finale cliffhanger.
Really?
I'm so happy.
Yes.
Aw.
We had to do it right.
On the eclipse, we were like,
Guys.
On the
everything
day
lines up.
of the solar eclipse.
We got Arin here
Hi.
We made
from
it
the
happen.
Grumps. We're here at Grump Tower.
Grump
So,
Yeah, I didn't know you guys
Nice.
had such a giant building. You have to take like an elevator up.
Yeah,
and everything.
yeah.
That's crazy.
Well, typically I take a helicopter in, but
Because
if I'm feeling plebby, I'll take the elevator.
Reconnect yourself with the lowlies.
Yeah, exactly.
just
yeah.
a humble thing.
Yeah.
Get it?
I won't talk to anybody on the elevator, but at least I'll ride.
They'll
it.
know you're there. And
Who do
say
you
it,
talk
right?
to?
That's
You own
for
the whole
morale.
building, you know?
Oh, there you go.
Right?
The doorman. He's like, "Hello, sir," and I'm like, "Don't talk."
Perfect.
Great.
So how many episodes have we done so far of this?
This is our 15th episode.
Oh, shit.
We're just little podcast babies.
Congratulations.
Thank
Yeah.
you. We fell down some stairs a couple times, but the baby lived to the end of the
You know,
season.
it felt like so much more.
It felt like 100.
it did, yeah. This usually slots out like the entire day, just going somewhere and setting up this this jerry rig operation here. That
But we've been really cushy the
I'm
last
actually
three.
impressed by this. I see with us, we'd just be like, let's bring a mic and a computer. But this is like you got a fly cam. You got. I mean, these are not my lights, but that's why it looks.
Yeah, we have to
Not as-
borrow your lights.
yeah.
For this.
Yeah.
Well,
You're-
normally
You're
we
being
like-
very generous because your setup here is so mind-blowing as we walk through and got the tour, and I was like, I'm really glad you saw our warehouse first so we didn't have to be embarrassed being like, this is the pile of clothes, this is the
We didn't give you a
bathroom.
tour of the warehouse, by the way. I just realized that.
that was it. Though.
What's
I mean,
the tour? You
yeah.
walk into it and you're like,
Here
oh,
it is.
I
Here
see,
it is.
I
Yeah.
get what you were going
He walked
for.
in and it was just like, this is it. I mean, there was nothing else to really say. Like, you saw all the props and stuff, but there was
There's
nothing
nothing
else to
to
really
say.
say.
Oh,
it.
it's cool. I like the high ceilings. I wish we had high ceilings. So I mean, that makes all the difference. So.
You can fly drones inside. It kicks up a bunch of dust into your
that's-
computers.
Yeah, you missed the section of all of our vehicles on the other side. Like behind my desk, there was a bunch of vehicles, like electric scooters and stuff that we have.
I
room
saw
to
the scooter.
go
I was kind
around.
of like eyeballing it, like, oh man, I'm gonna ride that thing.
Yeah.
We had a pretty good little setup when we first got there, where we were racing around in the big open space. We still do, kind of, but
Yeah.
it's
That's
not
what we
near
did
this
when we
much.
first got the space, just scooter battles.
Yeah.
But we would have like I have like an adult scooter at home, but for some reason only here we have like the kids ones. So we're like,
Like the Razor scooter?
yeah.
Oh.
The ones that just like break immediately. Well, I don't even think they're legit. I think we got them from like,
Knockoffs.
the toy district and shit
Gotcha.
for like $5.
Ours is like our area. Well, I was gonna say we kind of had a theme, but not at all. It's garbage. Like if you.
What
walk
was your
into-
theme? What was the theme when we started, would you say? You
When
said
we
we kind
started?
of had a theme?
Yeah, well, because when we started, we built the set out and stuff, so it was supposed to be like.
Yeah, but what's
like
the
a
theme?
little like a homey, I guess, right?
We started in a house, I guess, so we were trying to just transfer the home vibe to a big concrete
yeah.
tomb. I don't know if it really
Big
I don't know if it came across or not, but
But yours is like you have like a whole bunch of like Asian inspired like
Yeah, I love Japan.
rooms, right?
It's like my favorite joint.
Is there like a backstory to you in Japan, or is it just like that's what you wanted for the office? or-
Well, I mean, it's pretty typical. Like I grew up with video games and anime, so.
Okay.
And then as I got older, I was like, oh, I actually like the culture and like the place. So I went. I go every year.
oh nice.
So
Did anyone here fight you on the that theme?
on the well, it was kind of funny because we had the designer in and yeah. So my manager Brent, he obviously wants like an office, and so he was just like, yeah, we need a meeting room and we need this and stuff, and then the designer was like, we can do anything you want, and I was like, yeah, just it'd be cool to have like a meeting room and stuff. She's like, no, we can do anything you want. And I was like, anything, and she's like, yeah, and I was like, could we make a Japanese alley? And she's like, I'm in, let's do it. And she like started buying books and stuff, and I was like, hell yeah, all right.
Wow.
That sounds a lot like what like we had, where like Brett wanted office space, but then like we turned his office.
He wanted
into
his own secluded office space away from the chaos.
We turned
That's what he
his
wanted.
office into like a
Yeah.
Shanghai brothel.
Yeah,
nail
I went to
salon.
China on a trip and I came back and they had redone it. I had my computer on the floor for some reason, which isn't, I don't really know what the vibe was. There was like a little shrine. There's like paper lanterns hanging overhead. it's still there. So
Computer on the floor.
yeah.
Do you still do the computer on the floor?
No, that lasted about half an hour, and then I was like, all right, this is funny.
I don't think that's a Chinese thing.
No, yeah, I'm not. I think you you mixed a lot because I went to Australia too, so there was like the Australian flag instead of my door, which they took off the hinges and stuff. So I don't know if you saw that weird office, but that's kind of why the red room looks like
that was his secluded.
looks like
area.
only God forgives in there. It's like that's kind of what they took it.
That's
It
awesome.
became so.
Yeah, when I first moved to California, all I had was my computer, so I just had a big room. Well, it wasn't big, but it felt big because there was no furniture in it. And then I just had my computer on the floor, so I finished like my cartoon, just holding in the corner.
How long have you been out here?
Slept on the floor. What?
How long have you been out here?
8 years.
8 years.
Yeah.
You know, I've been out here for like 5 months, and I think it's like the same thing, honestly. At this point, like we're both locals, so it's like, you know, you go to the same taco shack as me, right?
Yeah.
You know,
You only got to get the stand. You don't want to go to like a chain. You want to get the stand on the side of the road.
the truck.
The trucks.
Yeah, I have to use the translator app to. That's the only way you do it, man.
Yeah.
Because I speak some like, you know. Anyway.
Poquito.
Yeah. A lot of people actually have been
Poco.
telling us to like talk to you guys and to like, you know, have a video. So I guess this is like a moniker to that, right? Is that the right word?
I don't
what?
know
What
what,
did
I don't know
you
what
say?
that word
A
is.
moniker?
A moniker?
Moniker.
No, that's not the right word.
Isn't that like a name?
Yeah,
It's
like
a
an
nickname,
alias.
Immortal HD is your moniker.
Yeah.
What are you trying to say?
This is like
tell me
this is
more
Like a
about that.
prelude kind of thing, or what do you?
Wait,
I mean,
wait,
I don't know
wait.
what you- I don't know.
You're gonna have to help
Homage?
us.
Is that what?
You're saying this is like an homage
To
to something, to a theory, which is, I mean, it's.
Podcast?
I don't know if
well,
that.
to the comments
This
that
is
Oh, like a.
a euphemism actually is the word I'm
this
looking
is a
for.
euphemism.
Are you trying to say words wrong on purpose? Is that the,
I don't think he started that way, but I think he's committed to
Because we've
it.
already got to the third one, so I feel like the bit can be spelled out at this point.
Right. So tell me more about that.
About what? The thing you were talking about?
No, it's just, okay.
You're my
no,
psychiatrist.
no, honestly.
How
though,
did you feel as I was doing the
This
bit?
feels like the
Right,
star
right.
thing again.
Well,
Oh.
well, that's a total. Stop mentioning the
I'm
star
just
thing.
saying, it's okay.
No, just a lot of people have been saying that we're similar and stuff, and I just want to know why you're copying us.
Well, I can. All right, I'll explain it to you. Get the fuck out of my office.
Gotta go.
Actually, well, he's my right side.
Oh shit. Yeah,
How
we-
long have you guys been doing it for? Because I feel like you guys have been around forever.
We talk about it like the past couple have been like kind of that same thing. He's a little bit younger than me, but I've been doing it. For,
That is such bullshit because
I've been doing
you
it.
literally have been doing it. We looked and you're like 2 months older on like your channel, where you're like, oh, I'm the old guy, right?
a little bit.
It's like the twin that came out first.
Yeah. For the rest of your life, you're the younger twin.
So I mean, next year will be 10 years. Next
Oh
year.
wow,
Next
On
year.
YouTube.
right on.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Doing gaming specifically, or did you start doing
Yeah.
other stuff?
We're very, very introverted and not really branching out. That's kind of the interesting thing with you though, is that you have like, you like half of your crew is like music, then you have like animation, and then you also do gaming and stuff. And so like, I feel like the animation was something that we don't get a lot. Like we had like James Willems, who also does like, you know, similar stuff, and like a lot of the industry people that we've had on have
He
had.
does.
Who?
James?
James Willems, yeah.
He does animation.
He said
No,
that. He
no.
said that wrong. He means our other guests
Gaming,
have had
like-
more
like-
varied,
like
but
you're really the only one that has like this like an animation
I was like, how the
background.
fuck don't I know that?
Like Newgrounds specific.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
because well the one thing that I remembered, this will probably branch off in two different ways, but
First of all, nice segue. That was an awesome segue. When
Thank
went
you.
out, yeah.
I remember back when we were all under the Maker umbrella and we did that Anki deal, which that was the
Yeah.
first time I think I met you guys.
Yeah.
Specifically, this is where it's going to branch off into two ways. But there was one instance where I thought it was funny because it was us. We had like the Yogscast there. It was like the Grumps and like
Yeah.
it was a bunch of crews essentially that were
That's when I
there.
got one of their names wrong on camera.
Yeah.
That was really funny.
Everybody was like.
I love that.
They, for some reason, the production was taking forever. Like the production was halted for whatever reason, I don't really remember. But everybody was at the table, at these like lunch tables, and everybody was just shooting the shit, talking shit about YouTube, and like like the platform itself and all this shit. Everyone's just moaning and pretty much expressing their displeasure. But during that whole time, you guys were in and out. Like it was you and Ross, I think, that were doing the event, and you guys were popping into the conversation. But then you also were doing this. I want to say it was like the extra mile with the Yankee thing. Like you guys were making these cardboard cutouts. I don't know if you remember that. You're making cardboard cutouts because it was a racetrack.
Yeah.
So they were making cardboard cutouts to put like a T-Rex or whatever. Like make it look like cool when they were filming their video, because each group had to make a video.
You're racing like RC cars or something?
It was kind of like RC cars. But they were like making their track really spiffy. They wanted to do like a ramp and all that stuff. Yeah. And everybody else is just bitching about YouTube off on the side. Nobody is even doing it, because I mean, to be honest, it's like everybody's getting paid here in this thing. It's like you do the bare minimum or whatever. But something that really stuck out to me at the time was like you guys were literally trying to make your video like your own. Like you guys were putting in fucking time that you didn't even need to put in that fucking time into that video. But then I remember when it came out, everybody's videos were released. Yours wasn't like the best received, and it was just because it was like a sponsored gig.
Yeah.
And that was like, to me, I remember I just thinking through, and this was like 3 years ago, but like I was like, what the fuck? Like, you guys were the only ones actually working the event, though. Like, nobody else was fucking doing anything. We were bitching about YouTube. You guys were the only ones that were off on the side putting time into your video. And for some reason, like, it just went down that way. And that was like, I don't know, it was weird to me. So I'm wondering if, because I don't know, like, what's, sponsored stuff you guys have done since. Obviously, you've probably done a lot, but, like, is it still that same, that same deal now? Like, where it's kind of like a mixed bag, but you guys still put in time, whether it's paid or not. Like, kind of thing. Like, well, I feel like that's something that we, or at least my mentality has been for some of the paid stuff that we've done, is that we dress up, we go the extra mile to like essentially make the video as if it was going to be our own video.
Mm-hmm. Well, first of all, thank you. That's very kind of you.
It stuck out to me. It was a little thing that stuck out to me ever since then.
That's
but like
very cool.
that was one of the things where it's like, man, these guys are fucking making cardboard cutouts. But everybody else is bitching.
I like how
about
that's
YouTube.
like like these guys fucking cut some cardboard.
Yeah. Well, Ross was over there slaving away like through the entire day, drawing them up, cutting them out, doing all that stuff. That's funny you mentioned that too. I had never really thought about that, honestly. It's just sort of what because we did come up as, Ross and I specifically, we came up as artists. Yeah. So like even switching over to doing gameplay stuff was already like, oh, you sellouts, like that kind of thing. And so like any step further in that direction, we get a lot of flack for, which is why, it's not the only reason why we put effort into it in that way, but it has a lot to, like, whenever we get a brand deal, it's something we really like we really thought Anki was cool when they came to us. We were like, I would have wanted this as a kid, right? Yeah. As pricey as it is.
Yeah. But also, we don't want it to seem, like you said, we want to just make it like it's a thing that you would watch. Like, we don't want it to be like an ad. We want it to be like a comedy bit that people appreciate. Yeah. It wasn't until we started doing the Crunchyroll ads that people really started digging what we were doing, because with the Anki deal, it still felt like an ad and like something we wouldn't make typically. But when we did the Crunchyroll ads, we just literally made it like a comedy commercial, and it was just a bit that you could watch and appreciate and laugh at if you don't even give a shit about Crunchyroll. Yeah. Right. And then people, and that went crazy. The first Crunchyroll ad we did was just like
and like the merch promos too. I've seen like you guys do like the merch promos and stuff where it's just like an individual skit. Yes. We kind of do the same thing where it's like standalone skit kind of deal. Yeah.
I mean, that's just the mantra behind it, is just we want to make something that's good. We don't want it to just be like, hey, we're selling something. Yeah. Right. If we don't have a whole lot of time and we have to make an announcement, we'll just make like a pre-roll video that you put in front of an episode or something that's like 30 seconds or whatever. But we usually still try to make those funny on the fly if we can. Yeah. But yeah, no, thank you. That's very kind. I appreciate it. Well, it's funny because you say that about us, but I actually look to Mega 64 for ad stuff because they're brilliant at that shit. Yeah. So that's what inspired me to go in that direction with ads and stuff because like I remember I was listening to a podcast and they were talking about some ad. They lost the ad because of it, but like I just thought it was so bold that they were talking about how like, yeah, we like this product, but we're being paid for it, and you know, if we don't get paid for it anymore, we'll just say like it'll give you cancer, like it'll just give you cancer, like. But if we're getting paid for it, we won't say that. So, and I was like, that's so funny, but they lost that that deal because of that. But also, I was like, that's perfect because it's just so them, you know. Like it's like fuck it, I left. Yeah. I don't care. Sell me something.
Yeah.
That probably moved more product though, like
exactly.
than
because it's in their voice, right?
Yeah.
Like it's something that, and that's why like the Wendy's thing went over so well because like. It was like there was a build up to it. Like I really love Wendy's, and like I was pursuing this deal, and it became this narrative. So like once it finally happened, people were like, "Yay!" They weren't like, "Oh, he's doing a brand deal with Wendy's."
Right.
Yeah.
They were just like, "Oh my God, he's there! He's so excited!" And like I was.
They usually that's kind of like the way that works with like the branded stuff. Is if you like have what's the word?
Oh God.
Enthusiasm.
Moniker.
Euphemism.
Well, like if you constantly shill like beef jerky or like Pepsi products or something, and eventually you get a deal with one of those, everyone's like, "Oh yeah, good for you."
Yeah.
Versus just like
Because you were pursuing it the whole time. And
Yeah.
It's like, oh, okay.
Well, it's also you're excited about it because
Yeah.
it's something you actually enjoy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's a bit that people can get behind.
Well,
Yeah,
yeah.
right.
Bits. Yeah.
It doesn't just come out of nowhere.
Spicy bits.
Where you're
Isn't
like,
that like a Nazi symbol or something?
Comes to you hot off the grill. You can see it with your own eyes, coming right off the grill. Look, you want heat lambs? Go to a health club. You want a hot and juicy hamburger? Go Wendy's.
I'm glad you said.
No,
Hasn't
dude.
this been changed to like right?
We're
Like
on a
O-
political
Ote?
channel, right?
Yeah, didn't this get turned into that?
We're
Like
taking it
low-key?
back if that's
I
true.
think in some cultures it means like butthole.
Only if you like use the wrong skin emoji when sending this.
Oh,
to-
like that. Okay, so that's
You gotta.
I use yellow all across the board. I just don't want any of that shit. I don't want any. It's just that's why they put that there. They were like, just yellow. It's fine. Nobody's yellow unless you have jaundice.
You kind of mentioned like how we're kind of old on YouTube. I obviously feel that way. I'm sure he feels that way. But you didn't really start on YouTube because you started with like the Newground stuff.
Yeah,
correct?
yeah.
How is it? Do you still like pull like maybe other people from that community? How is that community still like?
that's like half the crew, isn't it? I mean, it's like
Right. That's
that.
kind of
That was my
point.
other branch was like the animation side because at the time there was like that ongoing thing where I think Ross had made the video about animation in general not getting proper treatment on YouTube in general, and it was like a really big thing that all the animators were getting kind of stifled with that,
Yeah.
and it was like, was that something? I'm assuming you were affected by that too, and it's like, like animation. I can see it where like with the Game Grumps and stuff, it's like you guys inject animation into like because that's your background. It's like that's in like most of the stuff across the board, but like strictly animation by itself is like it's like not viable, is it?
No. I mean, define viable. Like if you're one dude and you're living in like a really modest place and you are super popular, then like yeah, you can make a living off of it. But it wouldn't be like you wouldn't be fucking. It wouldn't be like it was in 2010 or whatever when it was fucking like a gold mine where you just release a viral video and get like 500,000 views and you could go buy a car. Like it was insane how good it was. Like those fixed CPMs at the time were just like it was like, and people were doing the math and they're like, oh, it turns out that this guy's making $100,000.
That
This-
early machinima money just rolled in.
Don't look at me. I had nothing to do with it.
I'm just
I feel like you put the machinima target on my head when I walked in, and I'm just like,
That's a
no.
good thing,
I was
though. I
just
mean, that's
on
a
a
good
channel.
thing.
I was just a World of Warcraft dude making videos. I didn't know shit.
But it's also one of those things where it's like, you give something to somebody and then you take it away, and obviously they're unhappy about it. Like Newgrounds never paid. Like Tom paid me some money for like sponsored vids. So like
that's weird because there was like actually because we're friends with the Behemoth guys and somebody over there, who was it? It was one of like it was after that. It was like after 2013. It might have been 2014 or something like that, where one of them was saying how Tom was trying to like rework Newgrounds and have like a CMS type deal with it.
and there is as
that
far
was
as I know.
Oh, okay. Well,
Right,
like there was like one conversation that I had about that where they said like they were gonna try implementing something like that. I never heard anything detail wise or like anything from there, but I thought it was interesting how they were trying to like at least put something in place for the animators that are on there. But yeah, I never heard anything past that, but I did hear like they were trying to work out something.
I'm pretty sure they have one now. It's just difficult for a site like that because they have so much adult content on it.
Yeah.
So, and they try to segregate that as much as possible to appease to advertisers and stuff. But like, that's just it. Like, if advertisers are like, well, this is an adult site. Like for the longest time, it was like pinned as just like a porn site because it had like dress up games and stuff like that.
Right.
So the CPM wasn't great for a long time. But I think it's better now. I don't know. I haven't posted on Newgrounds in a while because I haven't made a cartoon in a while. So, but I love those guys. Tom like was instrumental in catapulting my career because he was supportive. That's the thing is everybody cites that community as being like the grassroots for like those kind of animators, and it's like it was, but it wasn't a supportive environment. It was sort of volatile. Everybody was like at each other's throats, even if they were like friends, which was kind of weird. And there was a lot of toxicity and like a lot of people that were just mean. And Tom was one of the only guys who was like truly supportive because he just like loved cultivating artists. So I owe a lot to him. I remember he had some deal with Wacom where he got like a bunch of tablets, and I was working on Metal Gear Awesome 2. And my tablet broke, and then I just sent him an email and was like, hey, I heard you had some tablets. Like, I'm broke right now, and I really want to finish this cartoon. And he was like, yeah, man. And he just sent it over.
Wow.
And I was like, oh, my God. And it meant so much to me that he did that. Yeah, Tom's great. Newgrounds is great.
So you keep with the animation and stuff, like, now. Do you, like, actively try to, like, you know, keep up with all of that even while you're doing the gaming stuff? Like, that's like, it's always you, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, do you actively try to inject that into like as much as you can so that way you can keep getting that animation feel, kind of?
Well, I think that's sort of something that because people are like, why don't you go back to your roots and animate more? And it's like, well, that wasn't my roots. That was just like the thing that caught on.
Yeah.
Right.
I was doing other stuff too. I was like writing music. I was like writing stories, and like I was writing poetry. Like it was all over the place.
Right.
But animation was the first thing that started like paying. So that's why I really focused on it, and I got better and better at it. But I just like supporting creativity. So, you know, one of the things that we do on Game Grumps is we do Game Grumps Animated. So every week we have a new animator and we feature them, and those usually get 1 million views, and then we link off to their channel, and we're like, this is the person that made it. We put in the title, and they get a little end card however they want to do it, if they want to put their character on there or something. So we try to do stuff like that, and I have like a art hashtag on Twitter that I do every Saturday.
I see. That's like what cutesy
Yeah,
Saturday.
Cutie Saturday, yeah. So I try to support the art community as much as possible. I just haven't had a whole lot of time to actually do illustration, which is fine because I've been creating in other ways too. Like I've been doing a lot of voiceover work. I mean, anything that we do here is creative. I mean, just doing Game Grumps is incredibly creative. Like I have to think of stuff on the fly. It's ridiculous. But like we've been building a lot of stuff, like a touring company and all that. So there's tons of creativity to go around. I haven't been like unsatisfied by anything in quite some time.
Oh, okay. So you're fine with where it's at, pretty much.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, but
If you had the choice and you were still covered, and like, you know, you could right now willingly just be like, I just want to do like animations again or whatever. Would that be a route that you would take, or would you still stick with like?
yeah, that's actually happening.
I feel like people probably ask you that a lot, right?
Like,
Are you ever like gonna do animations again, or like
Yeah.
what's the next?
oh, sure.
Right.
But I don't mind. I mean, that's just people being supportive. Like they're just like, we like your stuff. We want to see more.
I figured they would give more Game Grumps-esque questions as opposed to like, you know, his solo stuff from back in the day.
Yeah,
But, I
it's
mean,
definitely gone down a little bit. Like people asking me for anime.
Sorry,
There are a lot of
bringing
people
it back to the forefront.
No, it's funny because now, you know, we'll do live shows or anything where we interact with the audience, and then I'll talk about animation or I'll draw something, and people will be like, I didn't know Arin drew, and it's like, wow, you know, it's been 5
it's
years.
that far,
Yeah,
but
it's been
like
5 years of Game Grumps, so of course, you know, it's been a long time. There's a lot of new fans that just know Game Grumps. So
That's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
It's just like, okay.
The fully encoded character is animated, first in outline form called a wireframe, and then finally as a solid object complete with colour and reflections.
How in your setups, you've kind of stuck to the same model of you have the voiceover commentary, and that's I feel like you guys really popularize the couch co-op genre on YouTube. I feel like a lot of people have a lot to owe you guys for making that be such a huge thing and what it is today. My question is how come you guys never people must have asked you about face cam stuff, and you had one, it was an April Fool's video where you did an entire just face cam episode basically.
Yeah.
How come you guys just didn't want to integrate that? Is it just not ideal? Do you just want to stick to just because everyone else is doing face cam stuff?
Yeah.
Everything's real life. It's no longer there's just so few people that just do.
There's been
gameplay
this
only.
shift of just IRL over the past year, I guess.
I can count on one hand how many people don't do face stuff with gameplay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That are popular at least.
But most of them hide their face. You guys don't hide or anything.
No. I mean, it's a lot of reasons. When we first did the first treatment of Game Grumps, we did have face cam, but it was a pain in the ass because the only camera I had was a Canon 5D or 7D. Whatever. It was the one that only goes to 10 minutes and then stops.
Yeah. Okay.
So
I know which one you're talking
we just
about.
didn't want to deal with that. We were
Yeah.
this is bullshit. So we just nixed it and then just put it up because it was just a thing that we were doing. It's funny. We'll do it on the side.
Right.
And then it caught on and we were like, oh shit. But we found a lot of neat benefits to not having face cam. We can voice act a little bit more, when we don't have to, I can just be like, whoa, dude, that was crazy, and I don't have to emote or anything, which is exhausting.
Right. Yeah.
Whenever I do stuff with, I'm like, oh shit, I have to write, haha, whoa, and it's obviously it's an exaggeration, but it's still somewhat genuine anyway.
I think I watched one video where you were just kind of yeah, I'm in my underwear and I don't give a fuck or something like that, where it's just so I pictured you guys are just so are chill with just a mic in your face and you just play the game and just it doesn't matter at that point, right?
Exactly.
I think that's I mean, at least early on, before the face cam stuff got integrated fully, I think that was part of it. Wasn't a mystique, but it was a weird you can kind of, how do you
I think what
you can kind of
happened-
fuck with people, I guess,
Yeah.
where it's I'm doing this, but you might not in reality be doing any of this shit, but it's
Yeah.
you put it in people's head and they kind of steer it in a different way. It's they kind of imagine the layout in their head,
Yeah.
and that you can play around with that a
Yeah,
little bit. You
exactly.
can't really play around with it when you're showing them everything.
Yeah.
I kind of like that aspect in some ways.
It's like
the old
radio.
days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's one of the two other benefits I was gonna say is one of them is that what happens in your head sometimes is funnier, So if you just sort of, if you just sort of illustrate a situation, people sort of see it funnier in their head than it may actually be.
Yeah.
Your the Yoda thing that you that video when you first started doing the Yoda impressions with the jokes, that shit was so funny. I remember showing it to my ex-girlfriend at the time because I was the funniest thing because that's what I pictured going on.
Yeah.
I was you were doing such a good imitation of it that I pictured Yoda in those
Yoda,
different
yeah,
scenarios,
exactly.
right? Versus if you're doing your impression and on camera and it's
Yeah.
just
Right.
it doesn't translate.
And
Right.
you're
Yeah.
self-conscious on some level too, where it's
Right.
okay,
Well, people are
I'm
look at
doing
your
a bit.
face
Yeah,
doing-
exactly.
Right. So that also is conducive to Game Grumps animated and stuff. So
Right, exactly.
because I had an animation background, so I had a lot of fans that were animators themselves. So those caught on really, really quick, especially since I was doing them myself at the beginning. I think that helps that there's no visual, so people can imagine what's going on. And then the other thing is a lot of people listen to Game Grumps as a podcast. They don't.
Right.
They don't even watch the gameplay. They just listen to us talk, which is great. And I don't think the performance that we'd be doing would be the same if we had face cam. Like we'd probably be more reactive, I think. Which has its downsides too. Like our growth is really just like linear. It's super. We had a moment near the beginning where it was very exponential, and then it started just going linear. And I think you look at dudes like Jacksepticeye and Markiplier and stuff. Their growth is exponential because I think they have that connection, that like reactive connection. People can share those moments, and but we're just kind of like episode 38 of whatever, where we're talking about the mailman. I don't know.
Right.
Well, like the YouTube, the algorithm, right? I don't want to use that word, but it's just kind of like, it's just like
It's
if
the
you're-
moniker.
It was symbolic, really.
Yeah.
Well, if you're like a YouTuber, it's just like that's the word that you're familiar with, and like you have to keep up with the trends and stuff. And for a while, it's been like sort of like very clickbaity, hardcore stuff, where it's like if you want your video to get views and show up in the related, like people have to be clicking on that video.
Yeah.
And so what I've noticed a lot of people have done is they sort of taken off like part 37 or something, or their thumbnails, are extreme. And like again with your guys' model, it's you're not like hiding the fact that this is like a part, etc. of a let's play that you're doing, right?
It's pretty
Is
uniform, yeah.
Right. Yeah, exactly. It's like across the board.
Yeah.
And that's a decision that you guys are like consciously making.
Yeah.
Because like
we know it
you're
works
just
against
sticking
us
to
for
it.
sure.
Wait, that's what I'm saying is you must know how that works. So
Yeah.
it's like, I guess, kind of want to get your insight on that.
I mean, it's just easier. It's easier to digest, I think a lot of people will take breaks and then they'll watch like 20 episodes in a row,
Right.
And
Netflix it.
yeah, and it feels like cohesive because it's like we're literally recording it like right in a row, so it makes sense for somebody to watch that like that. But that's I don't know. It's just how we've done it. It's easy for us. It's fun for us, and it's less stressful. There was a point, somewhat like a couple years ago, where we were trying to like change up thumbnails and like be more like that, and it was just stressful, man. Like it was just really stressful because then it was about like milestones. We were like constantly checking the views and stuff.
Right.
Like for us, it's like we treat it like we treat this whole operation like a business in the sense that if we're making enough money to pay everybody, then whatever, everything's gravy. And whenever we get some extra money, then we'll do something weird. Like we'll fund a cartoon or we made a game.
Right.
Forget what the fucking point. Yeah, so we don't really care about like that stuff. Lately, I've been just experimenting with stuff that I thought was kind of fun because challenge stuff has been like really big lately, and I was like, oh, how could we turn that into like a gaming thing? So I had our intern look up some gaming challenges, and they all looked like really fun. So we did like a couple challenges where it was like, oh, in Smash Brothers, try to beat everybody without hitting them once or something, and stuff like that. I'm like, oh, that's really interesting. I want to try that. And those have been doing well so far. So we'll probably just keep doing stuff like that. But for the most part, we'll still do series, and because that's just what we like to do. It's like, why not?
You just like playing video games?
That that there yeah. It's half and half.
That's cool.
I'm very particular about the games that I like. So
Okay, so that's like a conscious. Well, I mean, you guys like do play like very old stuff,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, I
So
asked him when we were out there how you pick for the grumps and just go.
it's on
to
a
the-
dice roll or something.
Just go
It's
up
not
and
a
just pick
Quite a
something
library.
out.
Whatever
there,
looks
yeah.
interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
dartboard.
the downside to that is that like we just picked Paper Mario because Dan wanted to play Paper Mario, and that was like, oops. 5 months of Paper Mario, so there's a little downside to that. But like we're thinking about doing something where we just sort of like pick up a game and play it for like 4 episodes and then like put it aside.
Yeah.
That might be fun because I think people are this particular stretch that we've had where we're just playing Sonic Unleashed and Paper Mario. I think people have been burned out on a little bit of it because if you don't like either of those series, then it's like, well, I guess I'm not watching Game Grumps for the next 4 months.
Yeah.
Which kind of sucks, but
Yeah.
just how we do it, I guess.
So does that come into your mind when you're picking something out? Because it's like if you have to gauge like you guys had a thing, wasn't it for a while? You had like a Pokemon game or something that like disappeared for a while, and everybody's raving about it, and then you brought it back, and it's just like kind of thing. Like, was that just like you just burnt out a Pokemon kind of thing? You have to take that into account when you're picking something out.
Pretty much, like we won't do
an 80-hour game.
Yeah, like Dan keeps harping on Kingdom Hearts. He's like, oh, we should, dude, like on the show and stuff. He's like, dude, we should play Kingdom Hearts, and I'm like, you don't know, it's 400 episodes. I'm not gonna do Kingdom Hearts, even if there were 20-minute episodes. We wouldn't ever be able to finish
Kingdom Hearts and like Xenoblade Chronicles.
Yeah, exactly, right? Like Disgaea or something.
For the next like 2 years, and then that's your Let's Play.
I mean, it's like as much as I would love to do that, it's like we don't have the time, man. Like if we had like a whole week where we recorded like hour-long episodes, we could do it, but we're not going to do that. That's a nightmare. And our voices would be completely shot. That's something we have to consider too, is because I'm doing voiceover work and we record so frequently, and Dan's a singer and we go on tour, we have to take care of our voices. So we can't do so many recording sessions because then we'll get sick, or our throats will be raw and we won't be able to like perform. It's kind of crazy. I never thought I would have to deal with that, but it's just the reality of it. Especially with Dan, because they're trying to put out 2 albums this year, so they're constantly recording and they're on tour right now. So it's just like can't get sick, can't anything, or else everything is on hold.
Wow.
You have to take the time then when that happens to like recuperate.
Yeah.
Like,
well, I mean, we go to like the best ENT in like America. Like, he's in Beverly Hills, just because like we can't get sick. If we get sick, it's a big deal. Yeah. So we like have to get better immediately. So we're just like, please just pump us full of whatever. We have to get better now. And he's
so
like,
how do you guys do
you got it.
conventions and all that with all these people?
We don't do conventions. No.
You're just asking for
so
it.
many germs, plane rides.
We just do live shows now. We couldn't. I mean, it was. Yeah. So you go out for 5 days, travel for 2 of those days, and then you're just meeting people, and it's like.
Not to mention that the operation kind of is at a standstill.
Exactly.
Right.
Like we don't. We're still the guys who are like, we don't want to charge, because it's weird. So we don't want to charge for autographs. We don't charge an appearance fee or anything. So we're going out and we're doing this for free, and so we're missing out on 5 days of work. Always getting sick, guaranteed 100% sick rate every single time. I don't care how much hand sanitizer. I have a stock of masks that I wear when I go on airplanes. Always get sick every single time, and then that's a week lost after that. So it's not worth it. Like, we just can't afford it to do that.
Yeah.
Brett's like, you're actually flying out in like how many hours?
I'm flying to Gamescom right after this podcast. I'm driving from here to the airport, I think. Wow. But our output is nowhere near like your guys' output in terms of diversity or actual output. But even like PAX Fest this year, we're doing the first time where we're gonna fly in on Saturday morning, do our signing, do our panel, and then fly back out that day, just in the hopes that it's like less disruptive, because it's just like what you say, where it's like 3 days, 4 days, someone will get sick every time,
or lost, or hungover.
Or
it sucks because you do want to do that stuff. It's like you do want to go out and like meet the people who support you and everything. But
we also do like we do extra shit. Like, we come out with videos just for like a PAX panel. Like, we take time, like right now we're working on something, but just like we did for RTX, we just like showing cool things, and like people come and it's like, oh, they're here for a couch shop panel. I don't like doing just a Q&A for an hour and then it's like, go home. I want to be like, hey, here's some weird shit we're going to show you because you showed up, like you took the time. And obviously, like with RTX, we had like tons of merch there because of Rooster Teeth. So it's like, like you want to reward the people that are showing up to something like that. So it's a lot of effort. But like PAX is like, it's out of our own pocket. We're just doing it because we're really good people, you know.
And half the people do get sick. I mean,
Yeah.
Trevor
Yeah.
gets sick every time every trip.
I almost don't want to have
Trevor's
Trevor
gotten sick.
come with us anymore because
He's gotten sick.
he just gets sick on the not like a sick like sneezing.
He gets
just,
like stomach
like
problems,
stomach-
kind
that
of.
sucks.
He's like, oh,
Which is a bummer.
feel
We
so
want to
good.
bring him to
Tummy
places.
I go to tummy ache.
Yeah, so that's why we like touring, because we can just hop on a bus and sleep at night and every night, and we wake up in a new city, and then we can curate what we're giving to the fans. Like, we don't have to adhere to whatever bullshit. I mean, every time we go to fucking some con, they're just like, oh, and this fucking and the line was and it's like, okay, why don't we go to these places where the people are being paid and know how to deal with a lot of people coming in, and you can get food and drinks, and it's
Yeah,
nice.
you have like an actual like a venue that supports that kind of structure,
Mm-hmm.
I guess.
So we don't do cons anymore. Yeah, just not a
That's
fan.
the future, man. It's just stop doing cons. Like, what's the point?
Well, it's like you're
No, I think that's what's the point?
you're putting in a ton of work to put money in someone else's pockets. You know, like it's just, it's I don't know. I think cons are a racket, to be perfectly honest with you.
It's just a lot of people show up.
If I'm fucking,
Yeah.
Like we've been doing like PAX East for like 5 years now, I think about 5 years, and so it's like we have a big East Coast following there. So every time we go to PAX East, like we're just
It's more so that it's like the only
we're
event
swarmed,
on
right?
the East Coast, so it's kind of hard.
PAX East is just fucking brutal, though, man.
Yeah.
It's like a 5-hour flight. It was like a blizzard there last time. Of course, everyone got sick. It's just like, it's such a commitment. And like, yeah, like I want to see people on the East Coast, but like from LA especially, like I don't know how to argue for it in the face of like people who can't go to PAX East, and then like, oh, does the schedule get fucked up because of that or whatever?
Yeah.
So I don't know.
You know,
we're leaning towards your guys' theory.
after
on
watching
it.
Game of Thrones, right, with like their whole like the travel segment where they have to travel from one part of Westeros to like the other.
We need fast travel like Game of Thrones is
Well,
opting in on
I
right
would
now.
say fast travel, but more so like we shouldn't be doing that as humans, right? Like we shouldn't be from like one coast and just all of a sudden we end up in
It's
the
just not
middle of a
natural, you're
blizzard. Like I don't think our body should like be it's like susceptible to something
No,
like
it's
that,
true.
like
Yeah.
extreme weather change.
Yeah,
They were like, "Hey, how's it going, everybody? We have a YouTube channel. Come check us out."
Yeah.
That's very true.
Sometimes I like it. Like when we went to China or whatever, it was so. I'm like, wow. It
Like
feels like
Chinatown, or when
you
you
play like Overwatch and they're like, oh, going to New Bonnie, and then we're going over here, and it's like, wow, yeah, that's the future. And then I'm like, reality catches up to you, and you're like, wow, I've been traveling too much, and I need to like take a nap. Like I feel that exhaustion, where it's like you bounce back and forth between those sometimes, where it's like, like what's the right level of it, you know? So
Absolutely. And the other thing is like, I can't enjoy cons anymore because of just who we are. Like, the reality is like I can't walk around a con anymore. I just can't. It's disruptive. Like I'll get yelled at by staff, and they'll be like, "You can't block this way," because like it's like if somebody comes up to me, I'm gonna stop. Like I'm gonna talk to them. I'm gonna give them some time.
Right.
But when I do that, then people. And then it's like
density
you're
waves.
You're blocking a fire exit. Like you can't do that. So I just have to hole up in a hotel the whole time, and it's just like that's no fun.
Right.
So
wow.
What about those? I don't know if you were into Minecon where those guys like had the bodyguards.
Oh God, I could never do that.
Aren't they, didn't they announce that they're doing another one or something? Some kind of Minecraft.
They're doing
like,
Minecon
summer or
Earth, where you just watch it live from your house. I think maybe they realized they were like, you know what, just.
I did that with the eclipse today. There was a 360 like stream.
Was it on the
of
NASA stream?
eclipse. It was in Wyoming. That's all I remember.
I was watching it on NASA, where they had, like
they're doing,
Nebraska, Wyoming.
have-
It was like.
Yeah, they have observatories like posted up.
Yeah.
Like, through all like the points of totality or whatever.
Yeah.
And they're just streaming it. They're setting it up. And that was a NASA project.
That's so
Jake
cool.
brought glasses for us, and we saw the eclipse with our own eyes today. Thank you.
That was crazy.
I was doing
that was
the
a
pinhole
partial
shit
eclipse.
and the-
Partial eclipse.
Yeah.
It was a partial eclipse, but it looked like Dark Souls up there. I was like, oh shit, that's the thing. Oh. You know what I mean? Jacob just looked at it with his own eyes. I think he may have hurt his eyes today. I don't know why he thought that was a good idea.
Yeah,
It's
that's not cool.
He's like, I saw it already.
It's like, no, you're gonna see it when you're 90 and you're
He
burned
jumped out
out
the
retinas.
car and he was like looking like this, and he's like, ah. I seen a lot of that today though.
I almost did that because it's like you go day to day and you never look up. Like I never look up actively at the sun. Barely.
Good reason.
But
There's no
today,
reason
yeah,
you
I know.
should.
But today it's like you're not supposed to. So now I'm actively catching myself like.
Well, your curiosity. is
Yeah,
like,
no,
well,
it's
for a
definitely a
second.
mental thing. It's like I want to look up.
It's
but
like if you're aware that you're like breathing automatically, it's just like you're not looking up ever.
Or blinking when you're like suddenly
Yeah.
you're like, oh shit, oh shit.
I'm doing it. I'm doing it.
I gotta keep breathing.
I got out of my garage and I was pulling out and I was like, damn it, why can't I look at the sun? I just want to see the eclipse. And then I was like, us humans, we're not allowed to look at the sun because our eyes will burn. I'm like, what's the point of that?
You went through this monologue.
Yeah, I know I did. I was mad, dude.
Angry baby.
I had
realizing the world.
sunglasses and then had other sunglasses, another pair, and I was like, I can't fucking see it. What? This is stupid. And I was so mad. And I was driving down like Silver Lake or something, and there's just so many people that are out, like outside with their fucking sunglasses looking up.
Because they made the bare minimum preparations required. All you have to do is buy this one thing, and because you didn't do it, you're like resentful. Yeah.
Sold out for like a week.
This guy in Colorado that my mom knew, he bought like a huge lot beforehand because he is aware of these things, and he made like $13,000 selling them for $2 a pop. Just like a whole gigantic lot he bought from like a warehouse. I was like, why? I didn't even.
You could have did that, dude. What happened? Why didn't you?
He
get
bought
a
it at
whole
the
box
bus
of-
station, dude.
At the bus station, they
Yeah.
have 'em?
For how much? Like $20?
$2.
Oh, well.
$2 is the going rate for these.
Wow.
Anyways,
When did you buy those?
This morning.
Really?
but see, it's like street vendor. We gotta get
All
on
I'm
the
hearing
street.
online is just like I can't get them. They're
Yeah.
sold out everywhere.
We should have hit the streets. but
Amazon
no.
had them for like 15 or something.
Well, that's a racket. 15.
I wanted to go up to Oregon and just like straight up totality it up.
Dude,
Dude, I want to see the shadow snakes. That's all I want to see.
Yeah, you were talking a little about the shadow snakes.
Yeah. So like right before totality,
Yeah, I thought
like
that's an
there's like
explanation.
shadows that look like snakes on the ground that just wriggle and they like run away from you, and it's like the coolest thing, I guess. But like
The whole thing is insane. I just picture like people who aren't in the know just experiencing that naturally, just losing their shit. You see the shadow snakes and then like the diamond corona, and you're just like, the world is over. The world just ended. This is it.
that's clearly why like some cultures are like the sun is that because
Yeah.
it's like all this shit and they're like what the fuck?
Like-
Because like animals freak out. That's one of the coolest things about
Yeah.
totality is like you look around and all the animals are like what the fuck, and they start like flying around and they're like I don't know.
Yeah. Their brains are like roosters start crowing again as soon as it's over, like it's morning.
Yeah.
It's like, isn't that insane?
It's time to wake up! No, we already woke up.
Like we have coyotes in our neighborhood, and like they were out, and they're not out during the day. They were like, what the fuck is going on with the sun right now? So,
I love coyotes so much. That's so rad.
oh, they're the bomb, dude. Like whenever I take out the trash, and they just like walk right by, I'm like, what's up? And they're like, they don't give a shit.
Gotta go kill a cat.
All the
see ya.
bars closed. Like, no, it's dark. You can't.
They immediately, why is it night already? Guess I'm putting out the sun. Wait a second, the sun's out again. Somebody who has no idea what the fuck's going on.
Wait a minute.
Imagine being a Mayan in that time, dude.
A what?
A Mayan.
Oh, they said a mime.
I thought you said mine too.
Imagine being a mime though in that time. I mean, that would have been
You'd
tough.
just be like,
I thought that too.
No,
Anyways,
like an ancient Aztec or something, and that shit happens. It's just like there's no explanation for it. There's no Google. They didn't have no.
no Google.
They had no iPhones. That's like solar eclipse alert. Like be on the lookout.
it's Quetzalcoatl, man. We pissed him off.
It's just in the middle of the day, and your fucking sundial's like pointing, you know, a little to the left, and you're like looking up, and the sun's gone.
I need to lasso this rant, and we are about out of time. Do you
Well,
have final thoughts? Yes,
I wanted
final
to ask him one
questions.
more question
here.
because he touched on the voice acting thing,
Yeah.
and I saw like you were a guest on one of the Rick and Morty episodes,
Yeah.
and like you've been doing a lot of like actual like cartoon VO work. Like, how did you get into doing that? Like, are you still doing that continually now? Like those side projects?
Yeah, well, I'm trying to pursue it a lot more aggressively because I never had an agent, so I wasn't like getting scripts or auditioning or anything. I was just getting jobs through people I knew. So like because I have the reputation I have, and because I just like meeting people, I know a lot of dudes that are getting shows now. So you know, Justin, I knew before Rick and Morty, and like Kyle. The guy who made Mighty Magiswords has been a fan for a while, and I've been a fan of his before Mighty Magiswords. I was like a huge fan, like way back. So he just asked me to be on it, and then like because I guess I was just he liked me there, or he just asked me back for more characters. Like whenever there's a new character that has a couple lines, he's like, "Come in, please."
Sick.
And then because of that, I was able to sort of like build up street cred, and now like when people are like, "Oh, yeah," I'm like, "Oh, they know this guy. He works good." So that's just how I've been doing it so far. And it's honestly why I moved out to California in the first place, was to do voiceover work. And then right when I moved out here, I started making money doing cartoons. So like YouTube picked up. I was doing animations for games before YouTube started paying money for cartoons. So I was doing like freelance graphics work for video games. What the fuck was I saying? Oh, voice acting. It's just something I've always loved doing, and it's weird because it to sort of put a whatever. It's a nice little thing to think that like I came out here to do voiceover and I was doing animation and all that stuff, and then Game Grumps came along, and it was sort of this thing. It was like, oh, fucking make a gaming channel. Ugh, like whatever. You're an artist. You're not supposed to. But at the same time, the gaming channel is what helped me to build everything,
Right.
to be able to do all that.
Got you
stuff.
to your like original like 8-year goal.
Exactly. Like I don't know if I would have ever been able to do that if I just kept animating.
Right.
And I know, there's some animators and some showrunners in the industry right now that are miserable. They don't like it because it's tough and it doesn't pay well. So for me to be in the position that I am, where I can actually give people opportunities, myself included, is super awesome. And it was this gaming channel was the reason it happened. I'm in people's lives every day, so people like know my name, and if I come out with something or I release something, it's a big deal. Which if I was just making a cartoon even just once a month, it would just be buried and people would forget. And the fucking memory cycle of the internet is like a week. People forget about shit in a week.
Yeah.
So
would you say for people that are like actively now pursuing the animation thing, like what kind of advice would you give to people like that are trying to do it now, like that are in them, like they're still trying to do the cartoon stuff, they're trying to get their stuff out there?
See, that's always the tough answer to tough question. That's always the tough question to answer because my story is so unique.
Yeah.
I don't know that there's anyone else that's exactly like me and did exactly what I did.
Right.
So all I can do is say what I did, but the thing is like the YouTube algorithms change so much and all this. It's like it's hard, if not impossible, to do exactly what I did again. So I just tell people to just do what they like, because that's all I ever did. Was just if you do something that you really enjoy, it's like, well, if it doesn't go anywhere or become a success, you're still having a good time. So who gives a shit?
Your quality of life is at least like...
Yeah, like you can go home and sleep and like joke with your friends and be happy.
Right.
And not be stressed out and miserable that you're trying to like climb some ladder or like play a game of some fucking, politics of the industry or whatever. It's like, that's no fun.
Yeah.
And even when you get to the point that you want to be at, you're like, oh, well, this isn't what I thought it would be, because it never is.
Yeah, right.
It's just another thing. So like, people aspire to that and they're like, well, no, I'm going to be happy when I get there. And then when they get there, they're like, oh, I'm still unhappy. Like, and then you have to look inward and then you feel even more miserable. So,
I was gonna say it was gonna be left off at such a positive note, but now it just...
No, I think that's good. Having that benchmark on both sides of the line, though, where it's like what you say, where even though like you guys are obviously this big success, but you're not like chasing trends and trying to play that game so much as like your quality of life is where you want it to be, and you're pursuing that. So like
you got to be happy in the now, because you're never going to be happy in the future. Like, it's not going to make you happy if you think what's going to make you happy is going to make you happy. If that makes any sense.
That's a quote right there. That's a quote right there.
Yes.
If you're like, if I get this job at Disney or whatever, I'm going to be, and it's like, it's not going to make you happy. You're not going to be happy. It's, if you're not happy now, you won't be happy then, because it's all about you. It's not about this shit. You got to figure out what's going on with you first. And then once you do that, I think, I don't know. I feel like success just comes, like if you just are doing it and you're passionate about it, like people will see that. People are drawn to passion. They're drawn to people doing things that they love. You know, like they see that. I feel like it's obvious for people to see that. That's why, like you said with the commercial stuff, it's like when people feel like they're being disingenuous, then they're like, oh well, I'm not into this. But if they see people being genuine, they're like, I like this. I wanna watch more of this because this is interesting to me. Even when it's just somebody fucking. I mean, you think about it, right? Like, television's like written and produced, and it's like this entertainment medium, and then you have hundreds of thousands of people watching people on stream just play a video game and like barely even talk. But it's like at least it's genuine. At least they know that person's like having fun and they can make a connection with somebody. So that's the positive note to leave it off on.
That's great.
It's just do what you love.
Keep it
Simple
up.
enough. I think that's good.
Well, thank you for joining us on this final episode of this season.
Yeah,
it's been
man.
really fun, really cool to see you guys' setup and everything, and shoot the shit.
I'm happy that I'm on the finale, but I'm also sad to hear that it's over at least for the time being.
Do you guys do like catering here or something?
Yeah, we do actually.
Cool.
I mean, we just get food
I thought you were
delivered.
gonna give me like a business card or something.
Yeah, there should be food here right now. So help yourselves.
That's what I'm interested in. So.
Well, thank you for watching this season. We're going on hiatus. We'll have some new stuff on, if you're watching this on First, we'll have some new shows coming soon. We're torturing ourselves doing theater mode currently. The movies are really bad. We're really actually being tortured by
fun.
Rooster
Not
Teeth.
fun at all.
This is a call for help. If you're watching this, please help us. If you're watching on YouTube, then we will just see you on YouTube later. So that's it, I guess.
Where can people find your stuff?
Yes.
YouTube.com/Game Grumps is Game Grumps, and then my Twitter is @EgoRaptor, EGORAPTOR. Put it on the screen.
Boom.
I don't know.
Yeah, we do that. We do that.
That's like a lot of budget.
It's a $40 graphic we just had. All right, thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you around.
Bye. Thanks for having me.
As I said earlier, we're going to take a break for a while, and when we return, we'll pick up where we're leaving off right now with Kit.
More CCTV.
During the upcoming weeks, you're going to see some choice shows at
Couch up on roosterteeth.com.
We'll be back real soon, and until then, we wish you all you wish yourselves. I also want to thank you on behalf of all of us on the show for the loyal viewing. See you then. I also want to thank the staff for giving me this hat, and Winky's going to wear that to Hawaii. See you next time. Bye-bye, everybody.